Hello and welcome to Actually Intelligent. I'm your host, Max Thon, and today I'm joined by Dan Hnatkovskyy from Jome. He's the CEO and co-founder. Dan, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hi, Max. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited for you to be here and chatting with me. As we were talking before we started recording, I have not had the opportunity to speak with somebody from like the home building, home buying, construction industry. And so I'm really excited to have you on here today. And now, since I've kind of teased it, I would love to just have you kind of tell us in your own words a little bit about Jome and how you guys may be leveraging AI within your company.
Yeah, sure. So at Jome, we are marketplace for new construction homes, and we are basically two-sided marketplace, right? So on one hand, we are helping usually first-time home buyers to find, compare, and buy new construction homes. And on the other hand, we're helping home builders such as Lennar, D.R. Horton, Toll Brothers, and many, many others to sell new construction homes faster, acting effectively as like an operating system for their sales teams, or even right now, it's more like an AI infrastructure. And we were always driven by the idea of home ownership. And we have a really deep belief in our team that new homes are better than the old homes. And we just like helping people to access information about them, compare all of the data, make sure that they're making a right decision, and at the same time help home builders to create better home buying experience for their clients. And answering the second question about AI, I think that pretty much every company right now is AI first or AI native. We are one of those, right? So in some way, we started as an AI company. But at the beginning, like everything that we were doing with AI was mostly focused on data processing side. So the big challenge that we were trying to solve was how do we get the unstructured data from the home builders, the data that's never been online before, the data that is just like really hard to process, and then we clean it, enhance it, make it more searchable, digestible, convertible, so that people can make a decision about where they want to live for the next 10 to 15 years by using that data. But lately, a lot of things changed because for a long time, one of the biggest challenges that we were dealing with as a low frequency marketplace, where basically, people are buying a home like once in every 13 years on average. That means that you don't have a lot of resources and a lot of power to make your experience really sticky. And we were thinking about like how can we make the experience more personable and provide more value to both sides of the marketplace without overspending on very unscalable things. So we started building conversational AI agents some time ago. And right now, pretty much like 95% of all communication that is happening between home buyers and the home builders, between like us and as a company and like both sides of the marketplace is happening with AI. And that's enabling us to provide much better experience to everyone and make sure that everyone is getting what they're expecting from the process and transaction.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So you have people, essentially AI agents for the home buyer, and then you have agent for the seller or builder of the home that are communicating between each other on behalf of those two people?
Correct. Yeah. So the thing is that if anyone ever tried to buy a new construction home, you probably know that you may call the home builder a sales office or a certain community, and there's very high probability that they will not respond because a lot of home builders, they're heavily understaffed. Like if they have someone on site, there's high probability that they may be making an on-site tour, showing someone around, and then you're making a call. You usually expect the same level of the experience, or if you're like reaching out to them on the website, right? So you expect the same level of experience that you're getting with every other company, if that's like Amazon, Airbnb, or anyone else. And the problem is that for us, it's always been a challenge. How do we provide it's like very seamless experience and give people what they want right at the moment when they want it? And that was really complicated thing to achieve. And we've spent years building software for home builders to make it easier for them. But every time we were learning that it's hard to make them use something, because on one hand, obviously there's like an adoption of a new tool, but on the other hand, there's the frequency with which you're using the platform and like the amount of value that you're getting every day, right? And since once again we're like in this low frequency marketplace space, we were looking for alternative solutions. So we started with a very simple idea: what if the person clicked on a button on the website, but then we had a voice AI agent that sounds like a human that would call home builder and will ask them exactly the thing that person wants to know, and then get this information and return it to the person right away. We started with that. That worked pretty well. We realized that we can actually schedule tours for the buyers in much better way than it ever happened before. And then we started scaling that into more and more operations. And eventually we started actually deploying those AI employees to the home builders, helping them to take care of all of the inbound traffic, enabling them to follow up with their aged or dormant leads and to do all of the things that they would like to do, but they didn't have a capacity to do in the right way. And right now we're kind of like this company that's, on one hand, we're a marketplace, on the other hand, we're building AI employees for the home builders, making sure that they can do more with less.
Yeah, that's I love this because I feel like there's a lot of conversation right now about AI agents, making them work, having them do things. And here you have a really strong example of how AI agents can be used, and they're actually being used right now. And I feel like that is something that not a lot of people have gotten to yet, at least not from what I have seen or heard from people that I've spoken to. So hats off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Max. So the space is changing so fast that
Yeah.
I want to be certain that something that we do right now is going to be like super valuable in 2 or 3 years. But the reality is that like with all the changes that are happening, like a lot of companies, they're constantly evolving, and I really, really hope that we are going to be the same and just go with the listen to the customers, like explore new frontiers of technology and figuring out like what is the best solution to any problem that they may have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. On that note, I'm curious, like just within the industry, what other areas are you seeing AI being used? Maybe not by Jome yourself, but just really kind of those areas where you're like, wow, that's a really smart use of AI within home buying, home building.
Yeah, I think like the most useful use cases they're in this industries or in the processes where previously people had like significant limitations on what they can do, or where it was just like enormous amount of data that had to be processed, and that was just like really hard to come up with the right solutions and outcomes. So on the first side, like I'm as you may have noticed, like I'm very bullish on voice AI. I think that eventually, like for tens of thousands of years, that was our best communication interface.
Mhm.
Before we've got a screen or anything else, we were mostly communicating by voice. That we learned how to write, and that was like relatively recent. I think that everything that we can do with voice is going to become a lot more significant in the upcoming years. And like right now we're still at the stage where we're just like replacing some of the processes that previously were led by the voice. But I'm seeing right now a lot of things in like hospitality, freight, right? Like, I mean, in real estate, obviously, as well. There's a separate segment of companies, and I have a couple of friends like building in that space, voice AI for auto dealerships. Right, just like, I mean, creating better experiences, making sure that you can provide more value in like more consistent way. On the other hand, I think that just everything that's related to healthcare and longevity is also very important. I see that right now there's a lot of AI, like AI developments happening in the pharmaceutical research, that some companies, they are able to drive research a lot faster and discover new drugs to some of the illnesses or just that been previously considered incurable, and all of that progress is happening a lot faster. And I think that that is a very big and significant change. And then also, a lot of things are happening right now in the spatial AI, just not in the way how LLMs can basically predict the next word that should be in a sentence or in a block of text, but basically, how do we interact with the real world? How do we process something that we see around us? So recently, there's been this new company, it's also in the construction space, like Eric Wu, who previously co-founded Open Door. He came out of the stealth with Navigate AI, and it's basically like an AI copilot for construction workers in the field. And considering that, like, I know this problem firsthand, that we have a huge shortage of construction labor right now. Like, based on different estimates, we are short of like anywhere from 300,000 construction workers to 1 million construction workers. That actually can help us to significantly improve the quality of the construction, decrease the bar for new people entering the space, and generally make the process a lot better. But that is becoming more enabled by spatial AI. That's, I believe, is going to grow a lot in the future. But yeah, in general, like, I think everything that's enabling people to do more, focus on stuff that really matters, and expand their capacity, be more productive, create more value for everyone else, that's like where AI can create the biggest effect.
Yeah, definitely. I have not heard of the startup you're talking about there, but definitely will want to check it out. You said Navigate, it sounds like.
Yeah. I think it's Navigate. It's a very recent story. Just like, I think that they just came out of the stealth with raising $25 billion on seed. And the team is very brilliant, and I'm like really excited to see what they will build in that space.
Yeah, definitely. I know that before we got on this call, you had mentioned that you had some personal use cases of AI, or some just kind of like personal thoughts on AI that you wanted to share, and so I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about it, and maybe we can have a discussion around that as well.
Oh yeah. So it's just like I'm a nerd, and I like, even just like sometimes outside of outside of work, I'm trying to figure out like, and play around with Cloud Code and some other solutions, trying to figure out like what I can solve better and what I can do. And as the CEO, I think like I don't think of myself as a really like organized and super productive person. Very often I just tend to operate in the moments when I feel more inspired about something and go all in on the things that I'm passionate about. But still, there's always like a lot of other things that I have to do. But it's always kind of like been a challenge for me that made me anxious for a while. And for years I've been using different things that kind of like enabled me to do a better job around it. So like using AI note takers and organize follow-ups, and just like trying to really focus on how I'm using my time. But sometimes you just you have full day of back-to-back calls, And then you know that you have to do something. You know that you have to just process those notes. You need to send follow-ups, but then just like you just can't do that anymore. You want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
switch off and relax. And I've been thinking about like how to solve that problem, because like in general, AI was doing a pretty good job for me structuring all of the data, but then I always struggled with having a really good interface to work with that. And I've been thinking about like how I can solve that problem. But then for a while, like there's another company, like I've been in a search for a good to-do list app, right? So basically
Yeah.
for a good task management app. And I found Todoist some time ago. So
Okay.
I think they've been on the market for a really long time.
Yeah.
And a, I've like tried to work with it manually, just like, I thought of something, I've put a task, then I opened it. They also have this Mac extension where you can see everything, like every time you open your laptop or you turn on your computer, that you can see like all of the tasks. But the problem was that like you only can have there the stuff that you create yourself. And then like I've spent like a few hours with Claude Code, and I was able to create a very simple agent that basically, like 5 times a day, goes to my Slack, goes to my email, goes to my Fathom note taker, which like I know that there's probably a lot of fans of Granola, but I still think that Fathom is the best. And gets like all of the information and all of the artifacts, processes them, and creates tasks for me. And that was just like, a big life-changing thing, because I didn't have to create tasks for myself anymore, because they all like were getting created automatically. And for a while that was really great. And I think that I've been just like actively using that for a month or so. And then like same thing happened again,
Oh,
that you just have like 8 overdue tasks, then suddenly they become like 20 overdue tasks, and then you look at this and it's just like becoming a lot more complicated. So then like I remember that in the past, like I've had my co-founder and I, we shared an executive assistant trying to figure out like how to do things better, and she had like very good system around structuring tasks. And
mm,
I looked this up and discovered it like 4 quadrant framework that basically
yeah.
splits your tasks into like the highest priority, mid priority, basically 4 quadrants. And I went to Claude Cowork and basically created another agent that now was looking into my Todoist app and all of the tasks, and then basically was reprioritizing them and blocking time on my calendar for each of them for the next day and day after that, so I can basically dedicate time to that and start working on this. And that's been like really life changing. I've been able like to
Yeah.
fix a lot of things. I started doing things proactively. Like my co-founder and some people from my team, they stopped reminding me on the stuff that I have to do, and and my quality of life improved so much. And I think that it's just also, people without managers sometimes need managers the most. And I feel like really lucky that I was able to build that manager for myself, and like unlock actually a lot of extra time with that. And that's been like one of
Wow.
the things that, yeah,
Yeah. You want to be my life
works
coach,
well
Dan?
for me.
Because this was awesome. And I like a lot of the things you were saying there, I
I'm
resonated with.
like, yeah, I can share like my setup with you, and you
I
can
would love that.
yeah, it's really easy to use. It works pretty well. But yeah, like as for me, like I think like I don't deserve to be a life coach for anyone. So
I was playing with you, but like, I
that's like,
guess
yeah, that's too
essentially, like
dangerous.
what you were sharing there was very, very interesting because I myself have kind of been in that same boat. Um I've gone through the whole setting up my files on Claude Cowork and all of that sort of
Yeah,
stuff on my computer. For a while, I've gone back to just taking manual notes in the notebook and like writing it down. But for a while, I was trying it out on like an iPad and jotting down my notes there, and then converting them to text and then sending them to
Yeah.
Claude and being like, here are my to-dos. And yeah, it just got really kind of clunky and I
Yeah.
realized I was missing more than I was getting done.
Yeah, and look, I've also I started taking paper notes more often, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, and but that's like that's another thing. I feel that just what AI also enables us to do that, in the past like few decades, we kind of like became really dependent on digital interfaces, and like basically everything is happening online, everything has a screen, and you're basically always on your phone. But I think that with AI, especially with autonomous agents, basically you don't have to like I don't remember who said it, but like people are generally bad with using software, and AI is much better with using software as people. And it's I think that the best use case of this, like if AI is using software for you, basically enabling you to do more things that actually create value and to make you feel better, right? That's been like my case with organizing myself, but I'm pretty sure that that everyone has a lot of amazing examples of how they were able to use AI and become like more efficient, get more time for things they care about, and just like
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great example. And there was one thing you said about it that I think is important. And I think is kind of like where my general, like, whenever people talk about AI, I think it's important to call out is that you had said it took you some time to figure out how to, one, just how the system works, but then also to kind of set up the agent and get it to work. And obviously, someone like yourself, you probably have a more technical background. So maybe it comes a little bit more intuitively. But I feel like for the average person who's just like, oh, I'm just going to fire up Claude and start doing some things, there's an education gap or kind of an understanding gap there of the amount of time, the best kind of way to set it up and things like that. Would you agree with that? Or do you have any tips on how to kind of get around that or to think about it?
to be honest, I think that if there is any gap, that gap is getting shorter and shorter every day. And just full disclosure, I don't have a traditional technical background, right? So
Okay. Okay.
I've never been a software engineer, and
Okay.
always been kind of more on a product and business side. But
Okay.
I think that this technology is kind of like a lot more intuitive than most of the other things that people had access to. And as soon as you start using that, even in a very limited capacity, just like trying to figure something out and just like analyze the document or some data set or create a dashboard, etc., and you start creating things and you start working with things, it's actually your mind is becoming like full of different ideas. What else can you do, and what you can like create, what other problems you can solve. And I think that naturally, like when you the person, like as it was me in this case, and what I see also happening within our team, that as the person starts thinking about like, oh, like that may be an interesting solution to the problem I'm trying to solve. Like, so what if I'll try to approach that from a different side, right? And you start experimenting with that and you stay curious, there's a very high probability that you can discover very interesting solutions. And also, I don't remember who said that exactly, but there was like one of like major AI keynotes, but there was a phrase that like the biggest problem that right now exists in AI is the capability discovery, that we have all of those amazing tools, but most of the people don't know how to use them. And even if you
Right.
explain to them in the really direct way, that's what you should do, there's still like, I mean, that requires some sort of personal experience. But I think that we're moving towards that point really, really fast. And whatever we consider today as, as a unique and very valuable, and it's just us who's doing that in this way, in a year or two from now, that's going to be everyone, if that presents any value. So I think that
Yeah.
it will change pretty fast.
Nice. I appreciate that perspective. And I think you make some really good points there of just stay curious, and the more you use it, the more you play around with it, the better you'll get at it. And then on top of that, it's going to become more and more intuitive for everybody as time goes on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dan, for joining. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to staying in touch with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Max. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.